Hello everyone, and welcome to a new episode of the best Reddit answers being read to you. Enjoy! Which job is a lot less fun than most people expect? Video game tester. You aren't spending your time playing completed fully realized games. You are playing the same level of a game over and over, seeing if there are bugs. I had a friend who got a job as a tester at Activision. They had him testing interactive Disney storybooks. I have a coworker who used to work at Activision programming those interactive Disney storybooks. He always said the work was fine, but he hated the people he worked with. Archaeologist. Did it during my 20s and that was more than enough. Long, hot days. Living out of cheap motels on poop pay, and you typically find nothing more than some pieces of glass and broken pottery. Every once in a blue moon you find something cool, but those items generally end up getting stored away in a box full of other artifacts never to be seen again. I went to George Washington's boyhood home near Fredericksburg, Virginia, where they were sifting through dirt. I was a tourist by myself, and watched them dig from a distance. Nothing amazing. What did amaze me though was the amount of people that asked what you diggin' for? I ended up asking the intern how many people asked that, and she said too many to count, sir. I felt so bad. After reading through this thread for 20 minutes, I've concluded that every job sucks. I think doing anything for 8 hours a day, 5 days a week would probably get tiresome. After working in 2 to 3 hour blocks interspersed with home cooking, walks, naps, and little tasks around the house these last few months, I'm having a hard time accepting that I'll probably have to endure 5 consecutive 8-hour days again. Let's all collectively refuse to go back to that 9 to 5 schedule. What are they going to do, fire us all? Zookeeper. Don't get me wrong, it's awesome to be around so many amazing animals and care for them. But the smells are ridiculously, insanely foul. I have a really strong stomach and it's still tough for me. We've had some interns quit over it. I was warned about the smells when getting into the field, but thought, oh, I've volunteered at animal shelters, I know what animal stink smells like. Nope. Not even close. Accounting isn't the adrenaline rush that most people think it is. But the glamour, the perks, the respect, the debits, the credits, the assets, the liabilities. Demolition. Everyone wants to break poop with a sledgehammer. Everyone is tired of lifting that sledgehammer by 5 swings. Nobody wants to load the broken stuff into bags or a wheelbarrow and take it to the dumpster. I did a 2-week demo job years ago where I had to jackhammer, 75 pounds at least, a concrete slab and grind rebar into pieces. I'm in good shape and that job fricked me up. I always say the more fun it is to go somewhere, the worse it is to work there, like amusement parks and arcades. Honestly, every job that lots and lots of people really want to do sucks, mostly due to supply and demand. You're gonna be treated like crap, and if you complain you're gonna be fired because you're inherently replaceable, because there's thousands of people that would love to do your job for even less money than you are making. Working in an animal shelter. For sure, it's probably less intense than zookeeping, but the amount of people who apply or volunteer expecting to come in and play with cute puppies all day is absurd. We're basically animal maids. You deal with animals of all sorts of behavioral and developmental stages, pooping and pissing every effing where, and then you look over and this ducking dog named Chumbawamba swimming in his water bowl, so you gotta fill that up 6 times and dry his kennel out, and then you go and mop up the cat room around 10 kittens who want to eat your mop, and also 4 children who are all yelling that there's puke in the floor and I must clean it, now. Not to mention all the extra behind the scenes work that the public never sees. How in the summer, during kitten and puppy season, the shelter built to house 500 max has 750 and I didn't take a lunch or sit at all for any of my shifts for the past 6 days. How the courts force us to put down animals that we know can be rehabilitated, but we don't get enough funding to fight it. How animal control just showed up with the 4th pregnant stray of the week, but intake is full and even double stacked in some cases, so your coworker fosters the cats on her own. Not even to mention the crafty freaking people who do dumb poop and end up getting bit or scratched, and the animal is the one who bears those consequences. I am the proudest shelter worker in the world. I adore my job, even at its hardest. I didn't sit for 9.5 hours today and I found a cat turd in the cuff of my jeans, but it doesn't matter because a bonded pair of adult cats got adopted today. I took 6 applications this morning and the cat in bank 4 with the goopy eye is already looking better, and we sent a mama out to foster. The hard work is always worth it for these babies. I'm a marine biologist. I spent the last week measuring defrosted fish heads. The sea was angry that day. Hiking and backpacking guide worrying for others the whole time takes the fun away. I went on a glacier hike when I was in Iceland and the guide seemed genuinely shocked and thrilled that my girlfriend and I were the only two people on his tour that day and we had actually spent more than 5 minutes outdoors and were appropriately dressed. He said usually he had fairly large groups of tourists who typically had practically no outdoor experience and even less experience with cold weather. He said people often showed up in flip-flops even though the instructions clearly said to wear sturdy hiking shoes. He also said the groups typically move extremely slowly and he never gets to take people up onto the part with the best views and cleanest looking ice. He actually seemed really relieved we wanted to go further up and were making great time, like it was a treat for him. He was very knowledgeable and seemed so excited to talk about the stuff he knew, and I got the impression he usually spent more time babysitting than actually sharing that knowledge. I have seen this question before, and then it was Zookeeper at the top comment too. Nice. Anyways, there's this making a Frozen 2 mini docu. Most animators work weeks for a minute of animation of one character, if not less. At one point they decided to leave out a piece that one person had solely been working on. Must be crappy to be part of the credits without being able to say this is my part. I couldn't believe it. It was even crazier to me when Sterling K. Brown recorded an entire song and it got scrapped. It's insane how much ends up on the cutting room floor for a movie to be just right. I was so psyched for the animator that did that end scene for Into the Unknown though. She killed it. Lifeguarding. Everyone expects Baywatch, act, saving lives all the time. But it's usually just sitting there blowing your whistle telling little craps to stop effing around. I lifeguarded in high school. It can be mind-numbingly boring. I was certainly the tannest I've ever been though. Lucky. I'm a high schooler lifeguard and I just burn. Being a character performer at Disney. Don't get me wrong, there are some amazing perks and truly magical moments. I know I'm super lucky and tons of people would love to be in my shoes. But the day-to-day work is exhausting in ways I never thought possible. Guests are ridiculously abusive. I've had things said and done to me I never would have imagined. The company isn't always great, it highly depends on your leadership. And there's so much focus on your body and face, good and bad, that it can be incredibly depressing and difficult emotionally. Plus, you have to accept that there's very little upward mobility. Most people grow out of it and it's rough to know that one day you'll get too old or too fat and you will have to start all over in a new career field. So you constantly are thinking either, 1, what you're going to do when you leave, 2, how you're going to keep yourself there. I personally knew it would be temporary, and I now only work there seasonally while I have a normal career. But Disney has a way of sucking you in. What would have been your answer or question? Leave it in the comments below. Slap that like and subscribe button for more, and check out the link in the video description for even more answers. Peace out, and catch you in the next video.